Ooh, you so nasty. Does size really matter?
Yes.
No.
What?
Yeah, I told you, man. She's wifey.
Man, she a gold digger. She got you whipped.
I just need something more.
And she asking for too much.
I want something meaningful.
Meaningful. What's that?
We gon' get down to the nitty gritty.
Get down with
We
that.
gon' get down to the nitty gritty.
Get down, get
We
down.
gon' get down, 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 down to the nitty gritty. Down to the nitty gritty.
Down, yeah.
Do you have a secret? Please, do tell. Give into your curiosity. Nothing is off limits. Say your piece. ASAP. Agree or disagree. Opposition can be kinky. We will cover it all and more as we get down to the nitty gritty.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Nitty Gritty, the cleanest, dirtiest show on the net. We are here in West Bloomfield, Michigan, and we are so glad you have joined us. Before we get started, let me introduce you to our host. This man right here is the one that stays on the natural high. We have Kenny. Then we have Miss Aisha, also known as Firecracker. And directly next to her, we have Stephanie, also known as Wildflower.
And we have Gingy, who is also known as the sensuous one.
Thank you. Now, let's get down to the nitty gritty.
I'm going to give out our disclaimer today. Now, this disclaimer is going to be a special one because we're talking about something very important, so I want you to hear me. These and everything that comes out of our individual mouths today is definitely our past experiences, what we've deduced over our lifespan, and what we've heard from people that we respect. So it's channeling out of us. It doesn't come from anybody else. We don't represent any kind of organization, anything like that. This is Kenny's idea when it's coming out of this mouth, so forth and so on. So if you're offended, I understand. But understand it is just something that we think. You have to follow for yourself too.
And for those of you who are just tuning in to us for the first time, or if you watch us regularly, thank you for that,
Thank you.
both of you. But I want to tell you a little bit about our shows. First of all, we talk about life's questions, life experiences, things that make you say, or I never thought about it like that. And a lot of times we've talked about up until now, different topics related around sex, relationships, thugs, the startup thugs, slavery, the whole nine. Today we're going to switch it up and throw a little something different at you. We're talking about religion today.
Cue the organ music.
Yes, we're going to talk about that today, amongst other things. But I just wanted to let you guys know what you're in for. Again, these are our own personal experiences.
Right.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed the show.
That's right. So, today's topic is the purpose of the church. And also, why is it that it seems like a lot of people are leaving the church today. We'll talk about it here today. So, we want to start out by giving you just a little background individually. We want to tell you what our relationship is with the church, so you'll know where we're coming from. Well, let me say this. As a child, I was always made to go to church. So I kind of grew up in the church. It was a Baptist church, of course. But I didn't come to learn and develop a relationship with God until I was a young adult. Around the age of 19, I was saved. And at that point, I was saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues, sanctified, Holy Ghost dancing. I mean, I didn't go to clubs and the movies, just I threw away all my clothes that were provocative.
Wow.
I mean, I totally changed it up, all for the love of the Lord. That was my relationship. Up until, let's say I was a member of a church and actively for over a decade. where I was sanctified. And then after that, a shift came, and I left the church. And from then on until now, I've been on a track with just me and God. And He's been telling me what it is that He wanted me to know about Him. And it's been good, the best that I've ever could have known so far. So that's me.
Well, I actually was raised, we were raised Baptist as well in my household. But the tricky thing is, my dad was raised as a Catholic, which he still is now, not so much as practices, but Catholic father, Baptist mother. So as you can see right there, that can cause some type of conflict. So basically, when we were, children, my mom started us out in the church, but my dad came along and kind of, like threw a wrench in that for different reasons. But we were in and out of church from that moment on, from being growing up. So because of that, sometimes when you don't grow up in the church, obviously that transfers over into when you get an adult, and you have to, of course, make your own decisions.
Right.
So now at this point, I still attend a Baptist church. I got baptized in 2000, I believe. So after I had my daughter, and so I'm in and out of church now. So I guess I'm Baptist, and I go to church sometimes. I'm not every Sunday going, but I have a relationship with God as well. I talk to Him all the time, and I do not believe that you have to go to church every Sunday for God to hear you and for me to be a saved person.
All right. Well, if you've been watching the show, and if you haven't, I'll just say it again. I'm a self-professed church boy. Grew up in the church, as some people have stated up here on the panel, but mine was a different kind of relationship because it was a punishment for us not to be able to attend church. All of my friends was there. All of my relationships with my family members, people that I consider family members to this day, came up in the same church. No bloodlines, just it was a church affiliation. And lived right across the street from the church. So we was in church 6 days a week, be it Bible studies, regular church services, rehearsals, meetings, youth day. And if you couldn't get your homework done or your chores done, my parents said, "Oh, you're not going to church today." And it was a problem for me because I was not a streetwise kid. I didn't have any affinity for that part of the world. My love was the church because my friends were there. I didn't understand the spiritual connotations of it until much later. And I'm talking from infancy to 17. So around 15, 16, I started understanding I was in the building for a reason. So, long story short, too late. I got on the road out here and understood that the world was much bigger than my church and that's the four walls in my church. And I saw God as something that I can take with me, and something that all the words were in my heart from all the years of hearing them repeatedly, different stories and all that stuff. So I feel like I'm a walking experience with God as far as the church world goes. There's different denominations in churches, and I'll be brief, I know you gotta get to the different denominations in church, so it's splintered. So we would have the little battles of if you're Baptist, if you're Pentecostal, if you're what's the one? Kojic, Apostolic, and there was the little, I won't say wars, but the little frictions between the splintered part of the church, and that was a concern for me at 15, 16, 17 years old. Kind of turned me off. Told God I wanted to be the reason that would be abolished so that we can all just be, members of the same organization. But, things happen. But that was my naive attempt at my spirituality as a teen. As I become older, we will talk about what I believe in.
Yeah, I like that. As for me, raised in a Baptist church, and it's funny because when you are younger, you are what your parents are.
Exactly.
But have we ever questioned our parents and say, what is Baptist? What is so-and-so? Because most people don't really understand what the true religion is that they're in.
Right.
I love church. I love it. I walk in and get a feeling that's like no other. However, I don't go to church all the time. I think is necessary. I think it's so important. But at the same time, I have had profound experiences at home with my own self and God one-on-one that I could have never had anywhere else. So that kind of changed what I believed about you must be in church every Sunday or you're going to hell, or you must be this religion over the next one or you're going to hell. My stance is that God has created a lot of different religions so that all can come to him however you choose to get there. So I say one is bad over the other.
Right.
Which is why now I'm a part of a non-denominational church when I do attend, because we're all there to serve God.
Right.
And that's my stance now.
Okay.
I like that.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
All right.
So who's gonna take this topic? Who's gonna start it?
Say the topic one more
The
time.
topic, the purpose of the church.
Purpose.
Purpose of the church. Wow.
I like that topic because it is a purpose. The church was created for a reason. If you read the Bible, you'll see where Peter, Jesus was talking to him. He said, "Who do men say I am?" Like, I'll bring it down to our terms. He's here. He's talking to his people that he hangs around with, and he said, "Well, what are people saying about me?" They see the miracles, they see the following, they see the teaching, and he asked his friends, disciples, "What are people saying about me?" And they said different things. They said, "You're a great minister, you're a miracle worker, you're that." But one of the answers prompted Jesus himself to say, "Upon this rock I'll build my church." And I believe that's the first time that was the modern day church was even conceptualized the way it is now under the Jesus regime, as opposed to the Old Testament, which they were under before Christ was in charge, I'll say, or he walked the earth. And that church was brought together to bring everybody together. The purpose of it. You've heard the story about the day of Pentecost when they was all speaking different languages and all of that stuff. I don't want to talk past people that don't know. The purpose of the church was to bring together anybody, even with different languages, under one understanding of who God is. And that's what the original thought, as I understood it, from the scriptures.
Purpose of the church to me, I'll say what the purpose of the church means to me, like what the church does for me, because I can only speak about me. I go to church to, like Wildflower was saying, like when she goes to church, sometimes she gets like a feeling like no other. And I think some of that comes from being around like, people that's maybe looking for the same thing you are. Maybe like a message just for you, or maybe you're going through something at the time. So you're going to church to be around, like-minded people that you feel like are maybe going through something like you're going through, coming to get some type of message, some type of word, and you feel some type of way, because I'm a music person. So to me, it's no type of singing like gospel singing.
Oh, no.
So besides listening to it on a CD or something like that, it's nothing better than if you're going to go to church and get it. You can get your praise, and you can get, that feeling from hearing about people singing about, God. This God that I feel like can do anything for me, and he can answer any type of problem I have. So that is, I guess it's like besides a sense of belonging, but like my need to like really, I feel like I'm really gonna like get listened to. Being when I go to church, even I talk all the time to him. And I know he hears us all the time, but like I really just go to church and I'm like, I'm around all these people. It's like when we're all praying together, I feel like it's really something's happening. So.
Okay. Well, I think the purpose of the church to me is a place for edification. It's a place of healing. It's a place to receive love. It's a place to be built up. And all of this, everyone is there with the same purpose in mind. And basically, I think it's where you should be able to see the love and to feel the love of God through everyone there that's with you. And I believe it's a place where your needs should be met. And I guess you can question what needs are you talking about. But I happen to believe emotional needs, physical needs, and also financial needs. Now, I don't think that, that's where you go to beg all the time.
No.
But I do believe that one of the purposes of the church is to fulfill the need of its flock. And I don't believe that the church is really fulfilling its purpose to the best of its ability. And that's why I no longer attend. But I believe, I don't have anything really against the church for other people. You know, I've been there, done that, and I did it hard when I was doing it. And I do it a different way now. And I think I appear to be a rebel. I may be, you know, I may be. I do have a lot of stories, and I do come against a lot of things. Don't let me hear something about a preacher did this, a preacher did that. Oh, but I still have the love of the Lord inside of me. And I believe that we're all the same. And I believe that, well, I don't want to go into that. That's what I believe the purpose of the church is. Wildflower.
You know what? I agree with everything that you all have said. The funny thing is, I'm sorry, I am a diehard T.D. Jakes fan.
Oh, he's the best.
Love. Reason why I love him is because he speaks more into my belief. You know, you get certain people because it's more so what you believe in, and I get him. And I agree with the majority of things he said. I'm going to talk a little bit of some things down the line a little bit later about certain things I don't agree with. But I do agree with the majority of what he said. That being said, it was on the radio not too long ago. Someone called me, and they know I love T.D. Jakes, and they say, you know your boy was on TV because he didn't beat up his daughter. Nah, let me go there. I said,
boy?
Listen.
Which one, Jakes or
Jakes. He said they thought it was Jakes. Hold on, let me tell you. They thought it was Jakes. And it's funny because I hadn't heard nothing about it. And I said, well, what'd she do? Because I'm trying to figure out what one got to do with that.
Nothing.
You know? So, you know, what happened? I said, I don't believe it. I said, but if in an event, it had to be because of a good reason. And they just laughed, and they said he can just slap his mama, and you'd be like, well, this is just okay. Because I believe that you can still have God and still do humanly things.
You have to.
You have to. So that's the point of it. There's nowhere around it. So later I found out that it wasn't TD. I knew it wasn't you. I knew it wasn't you. But it was Creflo.
Right.
And allegedly, let's say that, because Creflo said that wasn't how it happened. But even that, and still being said, parents go through, like, oh, I've been slapped a couple times. Let's say that. And I'm sure that children of pastors, they say have a hard time.
Yeah.
And even more so because they're expected to act accordingly a certain way. So, and humanly, a father will snatch his child up for running the streets or doing some things they're not supposed to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so that doesn't have anything to do with your love of the Lord.
Right.
You know, so that just cracked me up because it was a story about the first thing. It didn't come to me like, oh, what did he do? In terms of negative, like he must be against the church or he's lying or anything. It was just like, okay, he had a good reason, I'm sure.
Right.
And that's what I can't stand about that. You know, people put pastors on a pedestal. I no longer do. I used to. But it's because of situations like this. Because when they do one thing that's human. Then people, you know, either they want to be naysayers or they want to, you know, be diehard fans. And my thing is, just he's a person. He go through the stuff just like you go through it. You probably slapped your kid earlier that day. He's no different.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why are we putting people up on a pedestal? My mother said the other day, well, you know, she wasn't talking about Creflo, it was somebody else. Well, he's a pastor, and you know, you're supposed to treat him with a little more respect than a normal person. I said, oh, no, you don't. And I'm sorry if people disagree with me, but I believe you give everyone respect.
There you go.
Everyone deserves it.
Right.
So, and it doesn't matter that he went to school and he's a minister, bishop, whatever. You are a doctor. If you wanted to become one, you can become one too. You know what I'm saying? That's the only difference. He wanted to become minister and you did. So, but anyway, what you got?
Right. This is part of the reason why it's a dichotomy for pastors and people in those powerful positions. When you do make a human mistake, then the floodgates open up. But my thing is, because I've been to churches where the pastor just call me Brother Dan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they don't wear the finest, anything. They drive Volkswagen. And you don't hear about them.
Mm-hmm.
When you accept all of that glory, that's how high the fall can be.
Mm-hmm.
If you let your flock raise, he has to have golden toilet paper. No, he's a regular dude that has a job to watch over the souls of his flock. So he prays a little more than the average Joe because that's his job. He studies more about the spiritual thing. Let me get back to what the church.
He may not do it more though.
He may not, but he's supposed to.
Yeah.
The church, the purpose of the church. When you were talking, everything was so eloquent. I got everything that everybody was saying. But what came to me was the church. The purpose of the church is to be a spiritual hospital for those who ache. Spiritually. Now, there are going to be most of our physical and financial problems come from principles that we're not taking care of spiritually. And this is what the church is supposed to be. You have the liars, the cheaters, the thieves, they're supposed to be in church. The women of ill repute they supposed to be in church. And the people who are conflicted about their sexuality, they're supposed to be at it. They don't flock there because they can be on camera on one of the Sunday night services or something like that. They come there because they're drawn to a pure or a so-called spiritual answer to what ails them.
Okay.
And of course, some of them take the stance, well, I was made this is the way I am, God know me, you don't know me, but boom. And that is a carnal, deflective mechanism that we use. We stand on where we are. If I'm going to be a liar and be the best liar you know, you ain't going to know nothing. And that has nothing to do with God, has nothing to do with spirituality.
Right.
That's your ego standing up for who it called itself to be.
Right.
And the church is supposed to tear down those walls with love. That's supposed to be the only place you go. You can be yourself, dress how you want,
Be accepted.
be accepted completely as you are,
As you
because
are.
we know the only way to change somebody is to completely accept them.
Absolutely.
You don't sanction what they do,
Yeah.
but you accept that person,
And love them anyway.
and that's what the church, the purpose of the church is. Anybody can come.
That's right.
I agree with that.
So you guys, with this, and since we've covered all of us have said, what the purpose of church means to us and what it's supposed to be, everything sounded great. This is what church is supposed to be. Sounds wonderful. So with all of this, why are more and more people deciding to leave the church?
Disappointed?
Yeah. I think it's disappointing. Guy said to me when I told him we were going to do this show, a co-worker of mine, and he said it's because church became the money. And I listened to what he said, and I said I'm going to bring that up on the show. And I think it's because we are hurting, the majority of us, so bad for money that you, in your mind, we think that preachers are not supposed to receive anything. Okay? That's not true. When you read that, is not true. There's nothing wrong. I don't have a problem with rewarding men or women of God, any of them, all of us. I help anybody in need, just like I would give to the church and any of them. So my thing is, if you can give, and it was so funny because it was a preacher who said, y'all say what the church is doing, but then you go to the strip club. And do you think she dancing because she like you for real? And it's funny because I thought about that. Because we place certain requirements in our mind of what we're supposed to give to the church or do to the church or how they're supposed to handle money. And money was all through the Bible. Even though we can say that the Bible, you can take it with a grain of salt depending on who wrote it. You can say that. You can put holes through it. I find validation in it, and I find things that I don't agree with in it. But they were always giving.
Yeah.
If it wasn't money, it was time. If it wasn't time, it was labor. If it wasn't labor, it was wives. It was something you were giving something to honor.
If
God.
it was sheep, doves,
Sheep, right.
sacrifices,
So we
something.
have to understand that this was not man made up of what was happening. People do give as a form of appreciation. And I think that because we're just so tight right now with our money and we're counting every penny and hurting outside the church, we look at it like, oh, they just trying to get our money because we see our pastor shining. Now, the only flip to that, I'm have to say, if my pastor is shining, when I come for assistance, if I come, then I feel like you're supposed to be helping.
That's
Right.
true.
If every time I come and it's got to be red tape and we got to go through 5 boards and then it's not enough money in the given fund, now we got a problem.
And the list of how often have you been giving tithes, and then how weekly, for how long?
That's true.
I don't mind that. I don't mind if you've shown, if you know what you give. The person sitting next to you in the church don't know what you give.
Right.
Now, if there's a record of most big churches, there's a record of what you do. That's fine. I don't mind that.
We don't like the business part of it, so
Right.
no, there's nothing
That's
wrong
not
with
wrong.
that.
So when you come, if I came in need because my lights are getting cut off and I
You're doing
needed,
this.
and I needed, that's the physical.
right.
That's the physical part.
That's
of it. I understand
right.
how that may be because when you're in need, you don't have time for that.
Right.
And stuff. And she may have an attitude. Well, hold on a minute. Everybody, the world don't move around you. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
She's the church secretary. You
Right.
don't know. So,
Right.
but that can really take you for a loop.
Yeah.
But if she's looking up, she say, you have given $300 in the last 2 months. I don't care what the number. That number could be anything. But you come and say, I need $178 and my life's gonna get cut off today.
Yeah.
Christian would say, let's take care of that. We'll deal with this later. You know what I'm saying? But the business side will say, hold on, it's 300 and you carried 4. Yeah, we can do it for you. You didn't gave, you asking for less than what you gave. Even if you asked for $350, they see that you've paid into the ministry of Christ, and the pastor got on a ring like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
they can give you that money.
Right.
And you know how they make you feel about it, whatever red tape you want to jump through, you want your lights on so you can see the prey.
Yeah, but the only thing about that is I just don't agree that should be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's what the
if you
judgment
coming,
comes,
if you're coming and you asking for help, whether you haven't given 2 cents, if you're a member of that church, and really, should that even matter? Because should it being a member of the church even matter? But if you coming and you need assistance, you're stuck and ready to cut off, and you are a house of God, you should be able to get some assistance.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You
Like
should be able to get
my
some
scenario will go like this: if I'm the church secretary and you come in, I need to talk to the pastor. My lights about to kick off. Oh, really? How much you need?
Yeah,
If
that
I
should be
got
that.
Right.
I was like, look, here's $50.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Here's $50.
Right.
Would they take that to hold
Can they
off?
hold it
Can they hold it
off?
off?
Right.
Anything.
Can they
That's
hold
how
it?
it
This is
should be.
where
Right.
this is where the body of Christ is. This is what it's supposed to be. There were 12 tribes. This is what I understand. Don't if I'm wrong, write in, post on there, let me know, correct me. I don't mind. I don't have an ego about this. There were 12 tribes. All the other tribes had a job to do. One tribe was charged with as the clergy to pray for the souls of the other tribe.
Okay.
Each other tribe gave 10% of whatever they was worth to the clergy because they didn't work. All they did was pray for the souls and attend to the spiritual needs of all the other tribes. That's where the 10% came in. You know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. If I'm wrong, please forgive me, but it sounds so good to me.
It did sound
You know
good.
what I'm
I
saying?
like that.
Let's hope that's right.
And I believe that that's where it could get perverse, perverted as you get to church, or you're gonna be damned, or all that stuff. And I don't want that to be what I'm saying. I'm saying it was a purpose to giving.
Okay.
But I'm going to need the church to stop. Not all of them, but I'm going to need them to stop calling up blessings by dollar numbers. I'm going to need you to stop arranging people by 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,
they start at 100.
50, 100.
Lines.
See, the
That's
lines,
ridiculous.
because
People have a problem.
the thing is, that's not godly.
That's
I'm
not,
sorry.
and that's ridiculous.
And let's go there. People did give with the 10%, because that's through the Bible a couple of places.
That's so
but that was a
ridiculous.
man deciding to give 10. That is not a 10 commandment, and tithing is not required. Let's just say that. Anybody challenge me on
Boy,
that
are
one,
you gonna
because
get some
that is
comment.
not a requirement.
She said that.
It is not a requirement. It's not a 10 commandment. God did not say bring me 10. However, God accepts forms of tithing. He does. He accepts a thank you just as highly as a praise as anything other. Worshiping and honoring your mother and father is just as valuable.
Or tithing of your time.
Tithing
Yeah.
or tithing of your time. Exactly. So my thing is, if you are coming to the church and you don't have any money, and you are there, a member of the church, and they look at that list, you can look at that list to see if the church is financially able because the church may have debt.
Yeah.
And may not be able to give. I can respect that on that end.
Right.
But if you're looking at it to see how much I put in the pot to see if I can get something out,
Yeah,
no,
that's
because if I put
That's a business
$10
side, right.
in there
And you need 400.
and I need 400 and we're
Should be able
able
to
to give, then you should be able to give.
Yeah.
I agree
I
with
think
that.
they should have some kind of protocol though, because I know what they want to prevent is everybody coming to act. So
And I don't
maybe
believe a lot
they
of
should
people act.
have.
Right.
Sometimes people may take advantage. There are people who just like to take
Yeah,
advantage
and
of
so
the
you do
situation.
gotta have a
So
Exactly.
I believe that maybe they should say, okay, bring your bill in,
Yeah.
Right.
or
There's nothing wrong with that
you know,
part.
that kind of thing. Or
Yeah.
if you're unemployed, maybe you can
Bring some income.
bring some kind
Right.
of
I can go with that.
documentation showing that or whatever, so they won't think you're just asking for a handout and
Right.
you don't want to do anything.
That should be
Right.
fine.
We should
I
pre-
agree with that.
We
That
should
should be
preference these talks as we have to go from both sides.
Both
because
sides.
There's a spiritual connotation to everything that happens in the church, and there's a natural reaction, human reaction to it. If I see the pastor say, God told me 200 people got $100 for me today.
Right.
Stand up in the middle line, get your place. Now, the physical human reaction is, why is he now just because I only got $50, you put me on a lower tier, whatever that was. That's the physical. Now the spiritual side of that is this: if you are touched to do that, you got $100 in your pocket and you felt need to give it, your actual movement and gleeful giving is a spiritual blessing for you. Ain't got nothing to do with the cameras catching
Right.
you
Yeah.
or
Right.
something like that. So outside of the human side, let's strictly speaking spiritually, it is when he calls for you to do that and you get up and you react, there is something moves spiritually. Now I know if you don't have it, like plenty of times I didn't have it. I don't have $100. I don't like when you go down to 50, when you go down to 34, when you go down to 28, I still be
really
sitting
do
there.
that?
But you know what? Did God really tell you
ridiculous.
that dollar amount? Here's my thing.
That's ridiculous.
I have had a very profound experience and that I'm not even going to because every time it chokes me up. But let's just say I was moved to give.
Right.
And the church where I frequent, he only asked for offering one time. And it took me forever. I got to church late. I was determined to get there though because I knew the message was for me that day. I get there and in my mind I said I want to give $20 to the church. But when I got there it was late. It was taking the offering. All I had like a fab right there to go in my purse. I ran over, gave the fab, got back to my desk and to my seat and he's like, you know I only asked the offering one time.
Right.
But God is telling me somebody didn't give what they wanted to give. Now, he didn't say I had $20.
Right.
He said, you know the church, we're financially fine.
Right.
He said, but somebody here needs to give what
It's
they
a
wanted to
blessing
give.
for you.
You didn't think it was weirdy?
No.
No, I knew it was for me.
Spiritually.
I got
Okay.
up there and I cried and I gave and I got back to my seat and he said what my message was. God said this for you and it was what I needed. It was everything I was going through. And that was like, hey,
I believe
that was
so hard.
confirmation. So
That was really good.
that was deep.
But people that, like we were saying, because I think that, whomever, gave you that comment about they think it's about money and stuff like that is like a lot of people's opinion
Oh,
of why
yeah.
they say they don't go to churches because it's just about money because my church I go to, they at least do 2 offerings.
But my thing
at
is, do you
least.
really, how many times do
But-
you really need to
Well,
get off?
they've got the building fund and the benevolent fund.
But they
and
got all of that at the same time that they did the original offer.
the regular tithing,
But
then
you
the
know
offer
what?
for the regular people.
I really think it
So
comes.
What's the regular?
Like the regular people that don't have enough money, they're not tithers.
Oh,
They
I
make
think
a
you
line.
Oh,
said-
if
no,
you get
no.
the allowance of
Yes, they do
$5,
the
you
regular
need to
plate.
tithe off that $5.
Well, some of the churches they
regular plate
they got
people.
wise. They give you the envelope and everything is checked off. It's just
Already.
this is the line for your offering. This is the line for your tithe. If you choose to participate in the building fund,
Right.
there's a special offering for the pastor. Boom. If the missionaries are having a weekend,
They
Right.
are,
children's fund.
Yeah.
Boom. You can put it all in one.
wherever you want it to
Bam.
go.
yeah, and they are like that. But they have the time where you walk up for the tithers.